It's the amount of interest payments we gotta make on this loan for things like the solar project. And my concern is which water and sewer capital projects have been deferred due to that, paying off of a loan and interest payments. And secondly, have any of those important water infrastructure or sewer infrastructure projects been canceled? So that's more an outstanding thing I'd like to see addressed going forward. That's it. Thanks.
I think I was on that email thread and we saw most of that was addressed on the email thread, but I'll make sure that Kevin and I.
Just the fire hydrant one hasn't.
Absolutely.
And then on the financial side, there has been answers, but what isn't explained or maybe in the newsletters is which important capital projects that were identified before the big rate increase hit, what, 3-4 years ago? Which projects have been canceled or deferred because we opted for non-pay-as-you-go approach. Remember, we took a loan, $8 million loan, 2 million interest payments, all that. So something has to hurt the infrastructure that we all been wanting over the last, 20 years. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, the three of us and then we'll get together and get you a full answer on that. And then as far as the hydrants, we'll get a hold of the fire chiefs and make sure that everything's on board.
Yeah, I think in the newer neighborhoods, I think they're fine.
Absolutely.
I was thinking of Del Webb, and there's a lot of older subdivisions around, obviously. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you, Rob. Anything else?
Not for me, no, thanks.
Okay. Anyone else with anything else? And I see no one online. I don't think we have that option at this point, so we'll move on. First thing is the approval of minutes. We have none outstanding at this point, so that's good. We'll move into business items. First one is for community development is the vacation rental ordinance.
Okay, so this was requested to put on. We currently allow two types of VRBOs. There's the hosted and the non-hosted. So the hosted is allowed in almost any neighborhood where that's where you would just take a room in your house, but you'd live there and control all that. But the non-hosted is also allowed, but in commercial zones. So areas around downtown, there's a couple zones where they can be permitted with a use permit. So that means going to the planning commission. They put conditions on it, hours of operations, things like that. Right now we have 6 up and running. One's not permitted and we've been sending them letters to come. It's in an area where it could be permitted. They just haven't done it paperwork. So I think the point of this was maybe to explore the idea of expanding the idea of having more vacation rentals. And if that's the direction, I can come up with some ideas. We couldn't allow it in more zones. We can open it up. We could set a number that we would be comfortable with. I think Windsor did that. They said like 15 total, or something like that. If there's support for that, I can come back with some more recommendations on how to expand that.
I think it's a great idea because we have to look for revenue enhancement besides our sales tax. And without major growth, this is the way to do it, is you start bringing in some TOT taxes and things like that. If there's anything you would want to add?
Well, are we talking like people building like a cottage?
No, if you own a home over here, you can rent it out as a vacation rental, so that people rent it by the night.
My
It's the
only
hotel.
problem with that is, when people start doing that, then it takes away regular rentals, and then there's families that can't find a place to rent. So I kind of have.
And that's what I'd like to see, or maybe when it goes to planning commission, is what other cities have for their numbers.
Okay.
And we could do a percentage off of their population and compare that with their hotels, because we don't have the hotel space. And that's where we start losing. A lot of our hotels are being rented out with farm worker housing and things like that. So it's not being used correctly and we're not getting TOT, which means we're not getting money for it.
I'll come back with some ideas. I mean,
Does vacation rental have a time limit?
Let me from the channel. Absolutely. I'll make sure you have your time limit. I'm sorry, but go ahead, Kevin.
I'll come back with some ideas. I don't think we want to just open up the floodgates.
Absolutely
but maybe
not.
we can
No, but I want
get
something
more
that
here
you
and there. Yeah.
have a educated, that's something you can bring to the planning commission.
Yeah.
Rob, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, sorry to interrupt. I was just I'm wondering if the vacation rental ordinance is it 3 days, a weekend, a week, a month? Is there any time limit that you have in your ordinance?
I believe it's a week.
A week?
Yeah. But that's something we can also look at with this, because I know we should look at with our hotels as well, because the hotels, I believe, are 30 days right now. So we might want to look at that as well, so that it's all kind of works together hand in hand. Anyone else with any comments?
I have a question.
Yeah.
When those are designated, are there components in the ordinance that talk about what the effect on the neighbors might be, noise and
Absolutely.
Well,
parking.
the last one we did was right next to the food pantry, and those are it's a place for non-hosted to be allowed. It did go to planning commission. We had a long discussion. And we needed a point of contact,
All of that.
rules, all of those things. But, those do fall apart sometimes if there's a rowdy party, but we have to have safeguards for that.
The problem is we found a lot of these people do it anyways, and we get nothing.
Right.
And so we might as well get online, figure out who's doing this.
Yeah.
And start enforcing the law and then help bring it back into work. If they're going to do it, the city can make the money off like they're supposed to and monitor and control it.
You can have a restaurant in your house too.
Oh, don't even get me started on that one. You good on that, sorry. Anyone else? All right. Seeing none, we will leave that on, you think?
Yeah.
Or do you want to send it to planning commission? I think you have good direction. If you don't need it any further, take it off.
Let me see what I come up with and I'll get back to
So
you.
next meeting, if it's not here, you're going to be coming with a hotel length of stay ordinance.
This is in relation to one of the hotels that is really not operating as a hotel and it's really just housing, for migrant workers. One of the things that in our ordinance does allow as the mayor mentioned, a 30-day maximum stay. That's one thing we could amend in the zoning to, shorten that stay. We probably have to talk to the other hotels. And just make sure they'd be okay with that, but I think like 10 days, and then we would have a clause where when there's emergency workers in town, they can stay longer. There is an option in the zoning ordinance where with a use permit, which means going to planning commission, they can change it to all residential. So it's all or nothing, so this particular business is just kind of, they're not open for business.
Don't we have 3 that are right now?
There's at
There's
least
2 on the north end of
2,
town.
yeah.
I don't know if they've gone all residential or not, but I know that they are.
Yeah.
Basically residential.
There's 2 for sure, and then maybe more, but I think it's just the 2. So if you go online, you can't find that particular motel, you can't book a room, it says no vacancy all the time, so it's clearly being operated as an apartment. And we presented to this owner the way forward if he wants to permanently make it an apartment, it's paperwork, you go to planning commission, I think it's probably expensive because he would have to do certain things to the building for the building code. I think that's why he doesn't do it. But if there's support, I could bundle these 2 together and take them to planning commission. We can shorten the length of stay, but it's a shell game. He just moves people out and then moves them to a different room.
But we have to figure something out because we don't have places for people to stay and that kills your tourism, it kills your revenue.
Yeah.
And so
168 rooms.
I'm sorry, say that
I
again?
think we have 168 rooms.
Yeah. We need to figure something out and that guy plays the shell game with not only the people, but with his books. And we have to spend money to audit and do things and it's unacceptable. So we as a city need to kind of put the heavy hand down at this point.
Maybe with this one, I'll bring this one back here with some ideas, and then we'll go to planning commission. It's something we can do. It's pretty simple text change of the zoning code. It's not a big deal. I don't know how much of effect it'll have, but at least it'll put them on notice that we know what's going on.
Chief, with any of these hotels, whether it's the ones that people stay by the night or by the 30 days, are there any issues that the police department sees, or is there
No, I've been in the one that you guys are discussing, they have done some modifications in there. There's one bed and other things inside there, which I'm sure is not up to code. They have a kitchen for those folks that I think Paula posed a concern about a while ago, which we did go and inspect. And there was concerns about alcohol and stuff. There was no alcohol in the kitchen or being served. As far as us having calls for service, we don't get many calls for service there. We had some prostitution, but it's rare. So
how about the other hotels, anything major? I'm trying to
just normal.
establish patterns, nothing
Yeah,
out of the
no, it's
ordinary.
just normal stuff that we get called to, noise complaints, some violent subjects there at times, but it's just normal stuff.
Thank you.
It's not regular, it's not often.
Anyone from the public, any questions, comments, concerns? Great. Good direction, thank you, Kevin. Yeah. Next is item 3, the Boys and Girls Club property acquisition.
Yeah, so this is gonna be on the closed session tomorrow, so I don't know if you wanna talk about it now or.
We can talk a little bit about it.
Yeah.
Basically, I just wanted to, put it out there that I wanted us to start looking at it. The Boys and Girls Club, the old building here in town is up for sale. They're asking a very high price for it. So I thought it'd be a good idea for the city to look at and start talking to them, see what they would be willing to work with us with the building, because you can do a Parks and Rec department, you can do after school programs, you can do the offices that we pay for other people's buildings to start saving money for long term with. So it's just to open the conversation, let you guys know that I wanted to think about it, see what everyone thought about the idea of that. And if there's anybody with concerns or questions, before we went to the closed session, I wanted to hear about it, so that's why it's here. Anyone? Great, that's easy. We'll open the conversation in closed session, since I'm not saying we're going to buy it, but that's how you start the conversation, and is do it in closed session, so that the city manager or council has the ability to talk to realtors and things like that. That's all that is. Next thing, community development department report.
Just real quick, I know people are concerned about Baumgartner, as am I, so I'm waiting to hear back from the developer to see what's going on. The last I talked to him in December, he said it was gonna start up again in January. Said all the money was there, so he was very reassuring, but as you can tell, it hasn't happened. So as soon as I get a report, I'll let you guys know. And then the other thing would be, we had a preliminary conversation with Christopherson Homes about the Angeli property, which potentially could be a nice little development for town if it pans out, so.
That's it. That's a great one. That'd be a good deal for us. Anyone, any questions or comments on that? Please.
The, what was Christopherson's, were they like?
They're just
Did you
kicking
walk
tires
away
right
from
now, but it's could be a nice subdivision, you know, with
They're
Decent lots.
median homes.
single family. They're a very reputable builder, so I mean,
Yeah.
hopefully this pans out. We can just get a bit of the segment of housing that we haven't really done, which is just regular market rate housing. We've done a lot of everything else, but not that. So I'll report back as that moves along.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Awesome. All right, we'll move into finance, Measure P cannabis tax report.
Okay, the cannabis tax report is included in the agenda. I just wanted to note that there's one customer who's 2 months past due. I do have a promise that it'll be paid by Friday and the second one by next week. So I use this platform as some leverage.
Heavy hammer. Nice.
But you can, I wanted to also, I know we talked a little bit about, do we keep the annual permitting process? Do we do away with it? So I ran some numbers, and if we increase the tax rate by 1%, that would cover the annual permitting process and one financial audit per year. So to me, that's what I would recommend doing. The permitting process, it's cumbersome. It's, most of them are saying, can we make it in 4 or 5 payments anyway? And it would just make it, I think, easier for everyone. With the exception of the one business that's behind 2 months, everyone else is up to date, and I feel like that would be a more viable way for everyone, instead of trying to come up with this large lump of money in 1 month.
And their permitting is already inspected and taken care of by the state and county, correct?
Exactly.
So we're just the third redundant.
I think it was done when the cannabis ordinance first came in to give people some surety, like, hey, we're gonna be checking every single year. You know, we have the ability to revoke the permit, which we have anyway, no matter what we do. And we're just chasing these guys down every year, and it's a lot of work. So I like Susie's idea of just raising the tax. We can talk about it, but it'd be a lot easier.
Is any of this tax money going to education of the schools? Because when we did the ordinance back when I was on the school board, that was the whole purpose, and every one of those people on the bottom that are named there as their payers swore they're going to be paying for a full officer and an SRO to be teaching at the school, to teach education, to give all the information. You know, what do we have going on?
Well, we have the SRO, right?
But does any of that?
This goes into general fund, right?
Is the SRO being paid for by this? No, right?
Well, this goes into the general fund.
Okay, so
So
so looking at that number, that's about a third of an officer with all your benefits and everything, the full package, I would say.
Hmm.
Maybe a little, yeah, there you go. So I'd say no, and I think that we need to bring this to council to, along with yours, look at the actual percentages, because we lowered them too low, I think.
Yeah.
And we matched the county. I think we really need to look at what it costs us. What it's supposed to be used for. And make it right. Because it's what they all agreed to do when they set this ordinance. They all took part in that discussion and negotiation. And we went from, what was our percentage, like 4% down to 1%, basically.
The one.
And we talk about when we went that low, we'll see how it works out. And I think we're realizing it's not working out where it's supposed to be, and we need to raise it a little bit more.
maybe do 1.5, maybe we can just.
2.5, the one that we have plus the 1 plus a half to add. That's my, but you know what, that's for the council to decide. I'm just throwing that.
I mean, it is a pass through for them, so it's not, anyway.
But what we're not getting is the education portion and control. And we're having to put the bill for the SROs and things that they were supposed to be helping us with, at least a little bit, you know, and we're not getting that.
Do you want us to put this on the council agenda?
Yes.
Do you want us, we should probably reach out to the.
Well, I should add, sorry, I should start with you.
I agree with what you
Okay.
said.
I'm not a king here, come on.
No,
Speak up.
I agree with what you're saying, and the one that's behind, I mean, it's like they're taking in the money, so they should be paying their taxes on time.
Susie's chasing that one all the time.
So last year, we pushed pretty hard because they were way behind on things all the time and always had a good excuse. And so we told Susie, please push on them or revoke their license.
Yeah.
So one has been revoked since that time,
Mhm.
and she will continue. She's done a great job.
Yeah, no, I'm not,
I know you knew it was-
Did a great job. I just
Did
think
well.
that if people take in money, they should do it back.
Yeah, I agree. The next, are we ready to move to the next one?
I think so. Any comments on that, anyone?
Yeah, definitely on the cannabis thing, it's like the residents and the public in general. I know there's organizations, Santa Rosa, Sonoma County, very upset with ordinances all over for cannabis. And it's really surprising to me, if you go back to 2020, you didn't leave that chart up long enough, but 554,407 to 179 to 132 to 92,000 last year.
And now we're at
So what the
68.
heck is going on? So so I thought the cannabis, the Measure P, whatever this is, was supposed to raise funds, like you said, for education or in the general fund, fix roads or hire police or whatever. And that's not happening. Meanwhile, we're raising, or we renewed the utility tax, Measure R, so all the homeowners are paying, because electric rates go up, you're paying a huge amount of money now relative to what electric rates were 4 years, 5 years ago when it happened. And we raised the sales tax. I mean, so all this is happening, yet here these guys are getting away with tax reductions. It makes no sense. So that's just one homeowner's point of view.
Sounds like you're right in line with us. So basically.
Pull their license.
Like Susie said, it was at like 4.5 when we started. The county and everyone else dropped theirs to the 1% or nothing for a while. And so they came in here and negotiated with us to lower it as low as we could. So we said, okay, we'll go down to where everyone else is around the 1% mark and see how it plays out.
Right.
And so here we are. We've seen, like you said, 500, 100, and now we're down to 68. It's, you're not getting enough to do what they said they're supposed to be paying for. So now we got to ink it back up to where we're getting what we need.
And just for transparency, the retail is at 3.5%.
Right.
Okay.
That one, that's not, it's the other ones that
Yeah.
are the big
Yeah.
fit.
Is there a fee or, a fee if they don't pay on time? In the
There-
city?
Yeah,
Yeah.
if they don't pay on time, there's a 25% a
Okay.
month for 2 months. And then it's interest.
Okay.
And still not pay.
It's funny, they'll pay, but they'll say, oh, well, I'm gonna pay for February, but I still owe you for December, because I'm already collecting interest on that one, but I don't wanna get late fee on this one. So it's a,
We did stop that.
Yeah.
Not gonna do
lots of
that.
games being played, and
Mhm.
Susie's handling it. Anyone else? Okay, keep going, sorry, Susie.
Okay, so the water rate revenues, the report again is in the agenda, but I just wanted to show that this year increased the year over year by almost 600,000. I did wanted to note though, that when I take out the water rate increase and go back, and it still shows that there's, huge increases, like, this is for June usage that's billed in July, but that was an 11% increase, and then this one was 24% increase.
In
This was-
usage?
Mhm.
Yeah.
A 13% increase, and then like October was 34% increase. So the water usage is going up. It's not all water rate increase. So I just wanted to point that out.
So can I ask a question like that? When did the new water meters go into effect on that chart? To show that maybe because we have 60 and 70-year-old water meters that aren't reading correctly, now if they are, that increases because they're reading better.
That's definitely a possibility. But they've been a little bit at a time, so it's really hard to just say like, oh, it was all in October, because we've been doing them for a while.
As this progresses, please pay attention to it, because I'm just gonna say it out loud, and I probably shouldn't, but I will. If it continues that the rates are up because the meters are reading better, and we didn't need the water increase that we received from our
Yep.
constituents, I would want to look at that again and see if it's
For sure.
necessary.
For sure.
Because if the money's there without having to do the rate increase, let's
Well, you
go
remember
over
the,
that.
this capture of what we were losing before was supposed to be paying for the meters. That was the whole,
Right,
that was the whole pitch of it.
absolutely.
You're gonna be selling more water, yeah, so
I remember that, but still, it's one of those things
we
that
should look at it.
long-term, I want to see if it's, I don't want to,
Right.
we don't have to have all of that money. Yeah, it's great, but on the backs of everybody, let's see if we can help a little bit.
I
If
think
it's
they're supposed to
possible.
true it up to, I think they're gonna do a true up, or I don't know,
After 1 year.
yeah, after a year.
It'd be great to see where those numbers lay out.
People are really complaining, so.
Well, and we're still better off than most, but if we can help a little bit.
Yeah, it would be
I'd like
good.
to find a way
I
to.
think people would be happy if
Absolutely.
we could help with it.
Yeah.
So I thought the water meters were paid for through a grant. You said it was based on the increased revenues from the new water meters?
There was also a grant in there, right?
The grant paid for a small portion of it, but the majority of it was done through the PG&E.
So both
Oh,
Lease loan.
turnkey program.
Yeah.
Turnkey program, that's what it's called, yeah.
and then do you characterize, the water revenue increase based on, or can you separate it, how many new meters were brought on in a given month, which then helps with the rate increases, especially as things like Baumgartner and others may start bringing,
Oh, yeah, the
Yeah.
number of meters.
yeah, do you have that breakout anywhere that shows the water revenues increased because we also added 100 new meters or 200 new meters?
I do have.
Because I
that
like
breakout.
Greg's Todd's comment about, well, there might have been, say, 1,000 people not paying because meters weren't working. I mean, I'm exaggerating, right? But something like that. So you got two things to look at, I think.
Well, that'll all be part of the audit as well, that we can probably do on the 12-month mark, do a full and complete. And that way we really can understand instead of trying to, figure it out right now or hypothesize,
Yeah,
but.
and why I'm hot about that issue is going back a few years ago, we raised enough signatures, a number of people to delay the water rate increase.
I remember all that.
And part of that was because we had these critical infrastructure projects. That's why I like to ask about, okay, have we done the new chlorine tanks? Have we done the new reservoirs? Have we done all that? Have we got the right fire hydrants for the fire people and all that? So,
No, well, I appreciate it.
yeah.
And
So if I'm a broken, sound like a broken record, that's me.
No, we appreciate it because, it's taxpayer money and we have to be, on the hook for it. And yeah, sometimes it is a pain in the ass, but it's okay. It's our job. We signed up for it. You check the box by my name to be here. So, it is what it is. So I like it because we can see things like this and go, okay, why are we getting more money than we were expecting?
Right.
Now compare it to what they said we were going to get on their audit, and we'll see where we were at and see.
Right. I'm really glad you can look at that before the new rates, like in the past, and they automatically jump up by 12.
Well, even if they do, they can also go back to council and say, hey, look, we don't need that. What, I don't know the rates are.
You're doing it well.
5%, we don't need it 3% really to make it even to where we're expecting. But that's something that I'm not telling you it's gonna happen,
That's fair.
Look at the audits and see. Anyone else? Awesome, you wanna keep going to the financial report, Susan?
Okay. So this report is in the agenda. I'm not gonna go through this whole report. I'm gonna just do a really quick synopsis, and if there's questions, I'm happy to answer them. But I also need notes. Let's see. Okay, so the general fund revenue is at 47% of the budget. We've have had approximately $5 million that has come in. The major sources of the general taxes include property tax, sales tax, utility user tax, and franchise fees. I wanted to note that pretty typical, we're usually behind either one payment or two payments, or sometimes a quarter for the general taxes, so it's pretty normal for us not to be at 50%. However, saying that, it does look like the charges for services are off to a slower start than last year, but plan check fees are already at 55% of the budget, so I'm thinking that once the plan checks are done, then we'll be getting more of that. Our sales tax, we just met with our sales tax consultant a couple weeks ago. They now expect our sales tax to be $60,000 less than what we actually budgeted, which is pretty significant. We're hopeful that the new district tax will have 1/4 of that before the end of the year. We'll make up the difference. I know it's not supposed to be for that, but that's where we're at. It's coming in $60,000 less. All expenses are currently at 50% or less. Let's see, police and protection, I just want to touch on that one a little bit. They're low right now because of some vacancies. But I anticipate that, well, I know it's gonna, because then there's gonna be benefits buyouts and things like that that happened later. After December 31st, that we know are gonna happen, and they're gonna be at 50%. They're gonna be at 100% by the end of the year. So for the parks update, the total budgeted expenditures for parks is a little over $2 million. Year to date, we've spent $331,000 or 17%, but we have some major projects, including playground equipment that we just authorized at the last council meeting, and then we have $771,000 budgeted for Soda Springs expense. It also has an offsetting revenue, so that's included in this $2 million. Let's see, streets and transportation, again, all this is.
Can you, the outstanding revenue is what?
The county,
I just want to say that out loud.
yeah,
The county grant money.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, the money there, we just have to front it and then
Right. Sorry, I just wanted to say that out loud on the record so that we knew we're not spending $2 million on the property. It's actually getting funded through a grant, but we have to fund it.
exactly. Streets and transportation revenue, it looks low right now, but again, it's the timing of the receipts, and I anticipate that everything's gonna be at 100% by the end of the year. And I'm going pretty quickly, so if you want.
Do you
Water,
want any questions right now, or do you want to wait?
however you want.
Anyone have anything to question? Perfect. keep
Okay.
going.
So water enterprise, we have revenues at 45% and expenses at 18%. Again, the total water revenue includes grant charges and usage charges. Our usage charges are at 63%, which is pretty typical, because most of the hot months have already happened, and then we're always 1 month behind, so the most that we're gonna be billing for is through May, by the end of the season or the end of the fiscal year. But penalties are already at 108%, so people are paying late, paying their penalties. Expenses are low because projects are budgeted, including a water plant generator and the well improvement project for 7 and 8. Those are still budgeted to happen this fiscal year.
With that, for you, Kevin, where are we on the water tanks on Cherry Creek?
we are, I just got an email, I think I sent it to you a couple weeks ago. We're in
No change since then, still working on waiting for the paperwork.
yeah, we're in paper.
So Rob, that way you know where that's at as well. It's just waiting on the engineering and all this still to go through.
There's a lot of seismic stuff and, they're gonna make the pad bigger,
So those are the projects they're working on for this year, the generator, the well, and the tanks.
Is there any other chlorine one, the chlorine?
no,
No, that's, okay.
that's a big one.
Sorry.
Oh, no problem. The sewer enterprise, the revenues at 40%, while the charges for service are exactly at 50%, and expenditures are low due to construction costs for SCADA upgrade. And there's another project that it's evading me right now, but they're either in the beginning stages or they haven't begun yet. Okay. And then for the airport fund, the revenues are at 7%. The reason that looks so low is because we also have grants included in this number. It's in the report, it breaks it out, but it's grants, the fuel at the airport, and then for rentals for the hangars, and the grant is huge. But
And the grant is for the lighting on the runway.
happy lights.
Yeah.
Happy. And infield area drainage. And that's 481,000, that's what's expected there. So the next steps in the summary is that the general fund reserves are currently stable at 55%. The major projects in the parks and the public works are planned for Q3 and Q4. The enterprise funds are on track to meet the budget target. We're gonna focus on aligning our expenditures and revenues for year end. And the audit is being finalized. I just authorized for them to finalize, and so I'm gonna just take 1 minute to kind of talk about that. We actually came in with the general fund 1.5 million ahead of what we thought we were going to. A lot of that is from one-time funds, grant funds, and some projects that weren't completed and were carried over. So when we thought we were gonna have a $7 million beginning fund balance, we're really gonna have a 9.5 million, so.
Do the property taxes come in higher too? Was that part of it? Was that part of it? Property tax, I thought.
Property tax did
It's higher.
come a little bit higher, yeah. At like 3% higher.
So the projects that, and the one-time funds, without the one-time funds in it,
We,
would be
yeah,
like almost back where we will.
yeah, almost where we started out at our budget. Some of the highlights were that workers' comp came in $25,000 less than what we budgeted. But we are probably gonna be coming back because we have benefits buyouts from, some pretty large payouts for employees that left. And then also the changes to some of the MOUs allowed more payouts. So there's about 180,000 that we're gonna need to come back for. And then, I'm gonna call it a headhunter, I'm not sure if that's the correct term, headhunter, and then because of more hires than what were expected, we're gonna need another 35,000 for hiring expenses, because we're already over budget there. And then PD overtime is already over budget, and we need to work with chief to see if the vacancies are gonna offset the overtime, or if we need to do a budget amendment for that. But that will probably be about 25,000, so we're looking at $240,000.
And then one-time funds were approximately how much?
2.3 million.
Okay.
None of those were COVID related, right? That's all done?
No, this is the
Right.
final of the ARPA,
Oh, they are, okay.
so we have some big cuts to make for the next budget.
If we,
That's all you have?
that's all I have, unless there's questions, there's more detail in the actual
Councilmember?
report.
I have no question, but,
You want to table? You want public?
But we're gonna bring this to council, right?
Do you want it to be brought to council?
With the audit or just the audit?
Once,
The audit.
once we have the audit, I'd like to see really where we're at, so that we can know how much we're going to be looking at as a deficit, how much we're going to have to really cut next year.
Okay.
And I want the general public to be able to see it.
So I'll just do the mid-year as a consent item for just review.
Yeah. We do a budget workshop at the council. But not like at the firehouse, we're just gonna do. An overview, I think, of what we're, and then the things we wanna add for next year. And kind of an update, is that what we're thinking?
Well, we already have a budget for next year.
Right, it was just the
Are we gonna-
amendments, well, we're gonna have some amendments to it, yeah. Actually,
We
we'll have some of
could
those
definitely
next
show it.
Yeah.
As a total, and I do have that if you want to see that.
Yeah,
Um,
because we might have to make amendments in the other direction.
okay.
I'm saying that, you saying this is part of the 2-year budget process you adopted, right?
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
So it's the mid-year or
Mid-course
Mid-budget.
correction, maybe.
yeah, so that we can see where we're at with all the changes through the different negotiating things we have for all the contracts and things, so that we don't go further into the hole. We're trying to turn that around. All right, anyone else? Seeing none, we'll move on to the next one, grants, investment options and tracking worksheet.
This is, something we could potentially take off up here, it's, West Coast was doing a grants tracking sheet, pretty expensive to maintain, and,
I know why that was here, we don't need it.
Yeah.
Don't need to spend money on it through West Coast.
so we should, yeah. Take that heat off.
Next one is going to be, if anyone have questions or comments on removing that item, there's a.
Okay.
Sorry, there's something.
No, I'm sorry.
Next is gonna be the Chamber and Friday Night Live funding request.
well, on the heels of that, good news is.
One time.
We are asking for additional funding for this fiscal year and for next fiscal year over and above what we asked for and what was approved, based on a number of things, but a lot of things that everybody's been affected with, which is personnel costs, costs for, event costs, payroll costs, rent costs up like 26%. And, we are for the benefit of not just chamber members, we're kind of a neither, we're not foul, we're not what, we're different. We're more of a community-based organization. We do have chamber membership. It's about 250 members. We are expanding that to community members where people don't vote, but they support the chamber by $100 annual payment. And we're doing events bigger, faster, longer, and all of those things have gone. So that's why we're coming to you again, more rural. We have a person that's dedicated to social media and member outreach, which we didn't have before. She's amazing and she helps with city things as well. She will also assist with businesses that aren't chamber members, but could be. We have a, Savannah does events.
I think over time, since I started with the chamber 7 years ago, Nina and I, the events have slowly grown. And which is great for the community and to bring people, specifically the wine walk. But as they've grown, staff costs to produce those events and the supplies for those events has grown. So it's just, it's how it works, unfortunately. Things cost money. So I think as we've added events, we've seen obviously the cost and then just the cost of everything rising around us. So that's what the need. I think.
Now or individually?
We can do both, we can hear both, that's fine.
Do you mind putting up? So we've got Dan and Mark from the Cloverdale Arts Alliance, and they're the guys who put on the Friday Night Live every year. And a lot of other stuff, the great events down at the storefront there. And we've been funding them to the tune of $5,000 for how long, Mark?
Well, the event started 20-something years ago with the city's idea. I believe it was the city manager at that time was Bruce Kidney. Does that sound right?
Well, he's, the planning guy, but yeah.
It had the idea to have an event to bring traffic downtown. And they approached the Arts Alliance about using our volunteer database to make it happen. So the city didn't have to use your staff to make it happen. And the idea was that we would then have part of it underwritten by the city. That went along for a while. It peaked at about $23,000 just prior to the recession. Was that 2009? Somehow around then. In which it got completely cut off, and it was cut off for a number of years, and in the last couple of years, we've been able to work with the city and get $5,000 to help. Well, that's $5,000 of $165,000 budget.
So you're proposing the porta johns and security and sound as the use of the money?
Help pay some of our expenses.
I mean, for my part, I know, Healdsburg and Windsor, those cities spend a lot of money putting their stuff on, so.
We're the only city I'm aware of that has the format where the city's not really.
That's true.
That's going to be my comment, is it's usually the city puts it on and pays for it versus a chamber or a nonprofit.
And the board of getting bands and all that stuff, so.
And then you're paying employees to do that as well. It's
Yeah.
very costly for everyone else, and we've gotten lucky to have what we have. That's how I look at it, so.
Well, thank you.
Go ahead.
And there's a misconception among a lot of Cloverdale residents or people that come to visit. The city is putting it on, and certainly we would love some more support. And we appreciate the support that we have gotten. The chamber is a fabulous partner, as is a police department.
How have you found with sponsors? A lot of, like, my neighbor is a big sponsor. Him and his wife contribute. Is that Does that help, or is it something you can encourage them to
It
get more for the sponsorships?
It could be because of this and the cost that it takes to put this on. We are fundraising year round, and so a lot of our community members are funding this event. So the city, we got a grant of $5,000 last year through community, that's individuals and local businesses. We got about 65,000. So it takes a lot of work to put this on, a lot of money.
And with the, you say we have the Porta John rentals, do we need that with our new bathrooms? You have talked about that a little bit.
That would be a conversation to have. We only have 2 bathrooms and we used to, the requirement was to have 6 regular porta johns and 1 ADA unit.
Okay,
So I would say that probably we could cut back from the 6 to 4, which would reduce that somewhat, but not completely eliminate
who
it.
said the 6? Was it the city or was it a?
It was part of our conditions of,
Permit.
Yes. I'm just saying that might be something we can revisit. I know that you guys have gotten a lot bigger as well, so your events are amazing. So, just say, go ahead, please.
Oh, yeah, and the security is important, and we've had discussions with the chief about that, and we want to make sure, that it's safe for the public. We're not putting an undue burden on the police department, putting this on.
Okay.
Todd, can I just add
Absolutely.
something? This, to my knowledge, Healdsburg, Windsor, and a number of other cities they fund their music, they fund their events, and thus far, other organizations have done that, our service organizations, the Chamber, the Arts Alliance. And I think you get a lot for your buck, in my opinion. Things like
Seems
this,
like you guys.
which is the
do cheaper than
postcard
we could.
just developed. Where we'll have it out at every event, and it lists in pictures, and we'll partnership with the city, our events. So, I mean, these kinds of things are, I don't know, if you had an advertising firm do it, it would. And we have one in-house, we made it up.
You have to bring people here to create that revenue, and you guys do a phenomenal job at it with everything that you guys do through the chamber, through the Arts Alliance, everything that you see. It's all put on by you guys. It's not put on by us. And I recognize that. We recognize that. And we're very thankful for it. The other thing when I saw this coming up, I talked to Kevin about, as I said, we have been, since I've been on council, on the city's backs, asking for money over and over and over and over. And the city all the community has said, okay, you can give it to us. I mean, look at the sales tax. They didn't think that was going to pass. Some people pushed back against it. However, it passed because people know that they trust us with their money to do what's right. And I look at it as we have a little bit of ARPA funds right now that you'll never have again. It's a one-time thing. And what better way to give back to the community and say, you know what, we appreciate you, and to spend as much as that towards this, not out of our pockets. It's not like it's a loss to the city. And we can say, you know what, we're thankful for everything you guys have given us and supported us with and trusted us with. Thankful for you guys all doing all of this. Let's do it. Let's make this the best. It's the 250th anniversary of America. Let's make this the best year you've ever seen in Cloverdale. Push our asses off, bring more people here, create that revenue and create the love, and see if we can get more stuff here. That's why
It's a huge value just for people living here too, besides the fact that we bring people in, it gives the people living here something fun to do. And entertainment's important.
And can we absolutely use that money somewhere else and chip away at something? Absolutely. But does that create morale and positivity and things that we can do with this money right now? Pride, thank you. I say we do everything we can to support these 2 groups right now.
So if you guys are in support of it, I think we're planning a budget amendment for the next council meeting, which I think is the 26th. There's other items, so these will be 2 of the items that are on there.
Keep doing what you're doing. You guys are killing it. You guys are all killing it. We really appreciate you guys.
Yeah. The thing.
Anyone else have any comments or concerns or questions about, Chief, they talk about the security, sounds like they've already worked everything out with you, and that's a necessity and things go on, and we've been working hard to make sure that the stage is better for you. You know, we did the cover, we're doing some lighting possibly, we're, you know, fans, things like that. We're doing everything we can as a city to try to support everybody.
It's
As
really,
a taxpayer, this is the kind of thing I see my taxes go to, whether it's property or sales and. I mean, $20,000 or $40,000 to defer that kind of projects, so definitely a way to go, maybe on the higher side about 20. would be
You have to
fine.
have fun at the same time. You can't
That's
always
right.
just.
It's gotta be a
Paycheck. Don't let a paycheck is paycheck. We don't want to be downtown too.
Yeah, well, it's that kind of thing, it's the parks, it's the roads, I mean, all that stuff, the security, you know.
Bring people here and they're walking around your town, they're apt to spend money in your town. And that's what we need, the time to rise for everybody.
Yeah, well, the residents will spend it here instead of going to a restaurant and it was very, yeah.
Absolutely.
yeah, and it's been great working with Nina and everybody, and Mark. You know, they're always a pleasure to work with, and always receptive. Any concerns I have, joining in, we always try and join in on their events somehow.
We usually have science and safe ways.
Well, I would welcome this on the agenda and I will push hard for you when it goes to council, but I don't think that we're going to get any pushback with the way this is going. Anything here that's different right now.
No, I totally agree. It's a high value item for our summers here.
I can't promise next next year, our budget, but, or, sorry, 2 years away, but we'll see how it goes for us.
It's great for especially teenagers because, you know, we're not like a wealthy city. We don't have like a community center with a big swimming pool. So at least they can go to Friday Night Live, walk around with their friends, buy some
Silly string.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You like that silly string?
No. It's residual.
What's nice is, you know, everything the city asks for, you guys help out so much and I appreciate it. I know you're trying to work on 4th of July and make that great. That was something that I poked the bear on that one 3 years ago and you guys ran with it. I love it. And your Friday Night Lives and they speak for themselves. Thousands of people here at a time. It's amazing.
Yeah, and everyone has those cards in their fridge saying, okay, who's playing this Friday?
Right?
Yeah.
I do myself every year.
And 3 years ago, that was the first 4th of July parade, and that was just an idea that happened. and
Your
people
Halloween
showed up.
thing was
Yeah.
really good.
It's because of the community, and the children love the Halloween, totally, yeah, and it's safe, they're
Yeah,
not
I-
walking around
we'll talk
downtown
about
that
that
very strange.
Close the street.
Well, I expect 4th of July this year to be the
Yeah.
best.
for sure.
Halloween, it's on
Right.
Friday nights,
All right.
Friday.
All right. Any other comments, questions, concerns? Anyone? 1, 2, 3. Thank you, guys. Thank you everyone for coming and doing that.
So would it be okay if we took our leave,
Absolutely.
because of that things to do with people.
You have a meeting at 4, we know.
We heard. Oh.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
No.
She adds value, I mean.
No, I wish I added more value. Thank you very much. We'll come up to the. That's okay. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Exchange Bank Investment Report.
We have William Ryan. He is the Vice President and Senior Investment Officer with Exchange Bank. And he is going to walk us through how our investments are doing.
Okay, let's go to the next line. Or the next one. There we go. Let's stop right here. So I'll give a real high level overview of last year. The Federal Reserve lowered interest rates towards the end of the year by 100 basis points or 1%. Fixed income investing over the past couple of years has been relatively challenging, considering that the Fed started raising rates in March 2022 and increased interest rates by about 5% over the course of 18 months. Very, very rapid. As what we have been doing lately, if you focus on the 3 to 5 year column, we have been buying agencies. And the reason we're buying agencies, and those are bonds issued by Federal Home Loan Bank, Federal Farm Credit Bureau, the Tennessee Valley Authority, These are under the umbrella of the US government, so you're essentially taking no credit risk. And you can see at 490, they're yielding better than AAA corporates and single A corporates. And so our rationale is, why take any kind of credit risk when we can buy these agencies? What we're looking at right now is the single A corporates, and those are at 537. They are callable bonds. So the idea is you can buy those and they're probably going to get called before maturity, but they're enough, they're yielding almost a full percentage point over US Treasuries that we think it's worth trying to get that little bit of extra yield out of them. If you go to the next slide, please. Oh, and I should just say right now, markets are really a little confused around what the Federal Reserve is going to do next. A couple of months ago, markets were expecting the Fed to cut 5 or 6 times. At this point, it's a coin toss whether they cut at all. So we're kind of right now in just a holding pattern. This is the performance for the last year. If you look at the fiscal year to date, that is through December 31st. Total return of the portfolio is 254 versus the benchmark of 196. The portfolio had a ending market value of $5,257,664. And you can kind of look at the benchmark returns and see how challenging, the past 3 years, 5 years have been. If you can go to the next slide, we'll take a look at your portfolio. Again, their fixed income portfolio. This is the end of January. The market value was $5,299,560. You can go to the next slide. And this is the quality of the portfolio. You can see very, very high quality portfolio. We've got one BBB bond that was a single A when it was purchased. It was VF Corporation, think North Face. Their credit rating was downgraded because they made some acquisitions. It matures in 2 months. We felt comfortable continuing to hold it, and we're just going to let that roll off in April. Go to the next slide. This is really the key one. You've got a portfolio that has very short time to maturity, and it's currently yielding 391. So as these older securities that we've purchased start rolling off, we're going to be able to reinvest in a higher rate. You're going to see the current yield of the portfolio increase.
If you sell those before they mature, is there's a penalty there, or
There's no penalty. You will either if there is, because say you bought a bond in 2019 and interest rates at that time were essentially 0, and now they're at 4%. You'll see a mark-to-market loss on that bond. So you'll see the market value and the cost basis, and you'll see a loss. What you don't see is the interest you've been accruing over the course of the past 6 years. And so while on a face value, it might look like there's a loss, the interest that you've been collecting over the course of that time has either more than compensated for that paper loss, or that loss is, just a fraction of what it looks like on paper. And you can go to the next slide. Again, these are just the individual bonds. You can see it's just a very high quality bond portfolio. Again, we have been focusing on buying agencies and treasuries simply because the yield has just been so attractive. And a lot of the corporates were trading right on top of treasuries again. So from our perspective, why take credit risk when you can get something that's going to be 100% guaranteed? And the portfolio is going to throw off an estimated, it's yielding 391. Your expected income is about $204,000 for the next 12 months. So again, we're going to continue to monitor the portfolio, upgrade this, and roll some things off. The next slide is the Cloverdale number 2, which is a portfolio that was started to fund a liability that I believe matures in 3037, 3038, something like that. very restricted investment conditions. Cal munis and, tax exempt, AMT exempt. Right now, it appears you're still on track to be able to fund your liability. Where I'm looking to buy anything that has as things are maturing, anything that I can get for California tax-free yield above 3%. That's gonna get you right on track to meet your obligation. Again, very high quality portfolio.
Really quickly, this is to make our final ROPS payment. If you remember, we were one shy
Right.
when they did the calculation back in 2012, there was an error. And so we're not gonna have the money to make the last bond
So
payment.
this will,
This is set aside to make that and then to grow with the interest, we'll be able to make that final bond.
Susie, where does the, he said we made 204,000 in revenue.
Mhm.
Does that goes into the general fund or?
No, it's.
It just keeps rolling into here.
Just a cruise in here,
Mhm.
yeah.
Well, would we have access to,
If you say, Bill, move $200,000, then I will go, yes. Where and when would you like? It?
otherwise you just keep
Yeah,
reinvesting?
exactly.
and we have approximately 5 million in there, correct?
Yeah, right now it's 5.3.
But it does show in
You want some of it?
our general fund.
I need a car.
It does show in our general
So,
fund.
yeah, so we're a little over 3, was 3.9, I think you said.
391, yeah. And, again, as things roll off, you can expect that yield to increase.
And lately.
Which is why I'm bringing that up is, do we have more to put in there that we can, because
If you have money sitting in a checking account, the answer is yes, you could do better than getting, I'm not sure what the bank is paying. My guess is it's
Nothing.
not great.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, we can make that.
We have been moving it to late is 4.6.
Okay.
And we did that because our auditor said that we needed to diversify where our funds were. He didn't think it was good for us to have them
well, that's
all
good.
in one or all bigger.
So it is like a public investment, no risk.
Local agency investment.
Right, again, and the way that we are managing this portfolio is just in line with local agency investment guidelines.
Yeah.
Because we understand that, this is not risk assets. This is, you want to make it efficient.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Are we done?
Yeah, I think we're done. I think, I don't have anything to add.
I think that's great. It's better than we've done in the past. I'm thankful for this.
Okay, great. And if you want us more money, we will.
Gladly accepted.
We will-
Okay.
All right.
We'll definitely discuss that.
All right, thank you, folks. I'll leave.
Nice meeting you.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Bill, very nice to meet you.
Yeah, thank you for your time. I appreciate
You
it.
stop by your local branch, right over Cage.
Okay. You folks have a good afternoon.
Thank
You as
you.
well, thanks, sir.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's your deficit?
No, but if we were in a deficit, could we take the proceeds from the bonds and just hypothetically?
Well, we count that towards the revenue. It looks like interest. And that's what our interest income is. So we kind of do that already.
So it's already sort of been.
So the question is with Leaf, how fast can we pull it out? What's their,
You can, in one,
so then why are we doing 391 when we were doing 465?
that's why.
I'm sorry, I didn't
No,
realize.
no, it's okay.
I thought that was what we were moved to, and I'm like, that's not 5%, that's what.
Yeah, it's it's 4 point, I think it was 4.67 the last time I looked at it. It was up as high as 4.92. But we just moved money to Reef, just.
Is there some, because the auditor said to have it in two, is there some like rule or law that
No.
requires us to do that? Just
But
best
then they
practice?
always just say, don't put all your eggs in one basket there.
That would be one reason.
It is nice to have Exchange Bank here and all of that, so
Yeah.
I appreciate all they're doing. But definitely something to look into, because I remember when Poppy came to us as well. both another place to think about. It's fun.
What about Redwood Credit Union? They seem pretty good.
I don't think they were offering us high.
Oh,
as-
okay,
as
got you.
The returns. When Poppy came in, they guaranteed us 5%.
These guys are just buying bonds.
Right.
You know, it's guaranteeing money. It's, you know exactly what you're gonna get.
So it's not like you're gonna.
They, how do they get paid? They get paid, they take a cut of it,
But
right?
I mean,
Yeah.
they have
Yeah.
some of it, like in Vanguard and stuff, and that's not bond.
Well, there's corporate bonds, because I asked them that question when we had this presentation before. There are corporate bonds that are pretty much guaranteed. The rate of return is, there's no real up and down. It's just you're buying a piece of the company and they're paying. But yeah, 'cause I asked them the same thing.
Cause I mean, the mutual funds go up and down.
Yeah, I think they're not mutual funds though, they're all
But
bonds. I
I think
think
had some mutual.
he had Vanguard on there, but I'm pretty sure it's all bonds, because I asked them that.
The Vanguard one. I think it said, remember, so like it's because remember he says think Norfolk
funds,
funds,
I mean, mutual funds.
and some are commercial
I
ones.
mean, 3.4 seems pretty good for the most safe possible.
It's definitely a nice, safe.
Yeah.
And not, it's not like 1.9% or 0.9, you know, right, so,
No, it's a good rate of return still.
yeah.
It's just always keep our options open, see if there's anything. Keep looking.
Well, we should- I don't know if he's the guy, but we're getting off topic, but for the whole roads and the income coming in. And we'll talk about, it.
Yeah, that'll definitely hit later on.
I haven't gotten Greg that.
Okay, I'm just, for
Yeah,
the
there are mutual funds.
finance department, report, I just want to report really quickly, because I know I've taken up a lot of time.
Yeah.
That Neptune 360 is being set up as we speak, that we're even as far along as sending some of the staff with, multi-factor so that we can log in and safely log in. And then we'll be testing it. They are going to be working with our software, or, you know, Springbrook, which is our finance software, which also does the billing, and so that we can get the information from Springbrook and Neptune to make sure that they all, are looking at the same thing. And then, once, I'm expecting it to be up within a month, but that's me, and, you know, I do have to wait on Springbrook and.
Heavy hammer. It's somebody to make Neptune
Yeah,
online, because I get called every day still.
yeah,
It's gonna be nice.
Kevin's telling me every day too. Where we at? Where we at? Where we at? So I mean, we've got all the information that we could to them. We had to dig up quite a bit of information, but hopefully now they're on in the process and working on it. So just wanted to put that out there. And then
You said a month.
1 month.
Anything else you want? Yeah. Next. Good. Yeah, that guy.
All right, so we're gonna have staffing update, so back in December 2024, we did a recruitment for sergeant. We had no outside applicants. We had 5 internal applicants, we identified a sergeant. He worked 1 week and he's out on leave. So we also put out a recruitment for officer. For 1 officer and for a lieutenant. Those both recruitments end in this Friday. We have 6 applicants for officer, 1 applicant for lieutenant. To move quickly, we've already identified, next Tuesday as order boards. We've already scheduled the 6 for order boards officers for on the 18th, next Tuesday, and then on the 27th for the lieutenant position.
You know, those officers that we sponsor through the training.
Yes,
Yeah.
they're all trainees.
Yeah.
There is 1 applicant who's a lateral, but he hasn't gotten back to us, and I don't think he can.
So we'll be trainings.
We have 1 officer in background currently. Not sure he's gonna make it through background, so that would leave us the 2 officers, sponsoring 2 officers in the academy. Let's talk with the backgrounder and kind of how things are going. But, so we have, 2 vacant, pretty much 2 vacancies. We have 1 in training, that's our 3rd vacancy, and then with the sergeant being out, that's 4 vacancies. People not working. It leaves us with 7 patrol officers, 1 sergeant to do 24 hours a day.
So they're having to cover other shifts right now.
Yeah, that's the overtime increase. So at some point, we need to kind of figure out, the hiring, whether we're hiring, that it's a page, hiring some things and kind of prepare, because it's literally, I explained this to you, depending upon when we do the background for the, officer, when we hire somebody, to when we get them in the academy. These current 2 officers, we're looking at getting to the July academy, so that's 4 months out. So that's another 6 months there to, for them to go to the academy, another 4 months to go to the FTO. So you're looking at some time just to get an officer on the street. So
You're May of 26.
That's a long time.
Wow.
it's yes,
To be on his own, or their own.
yeah, and so it would be nice to attract a lateral, but in all fairness, we just don't have the money to do that. I was talking with Ukiah chief just over the weekend, and you know, they're losing officers to the Mendo County. They can't retain their officers, and they didn't for now. Yeah, Ukiah is expanding, and yeah, so it's pretty difficult. And just something to consider. So our recruitment efforts, again, we've been out there trying to get these positions filled. We're really aggressive in moving forward with those folks. Yeah, it ends in on the 14th. And if there may be some 6 weeks we're not gonna pick up. You know, and then we start over again. So hopefully we can identify at least 1 or 2 that we want to move forward with. Equipment upgrades, so you have a staff report for NBCs, which is going to council tomorrow. Originally, before this was moved from the 3rd to the 11th, gonna go to you guys first, and then, sorry.
You're gonna be talking about it at the council meeting.
Yes, yeah.
Consent.
Yeah, this new business because you guys didn't hear it, right? So, just to, you know, we talk about it tomorrow anyway, but, so we have, over the course of the last 4 or 5 years, we have been upgrading our MDC, which is our mobile data computers, of course. We have 5 old ones that we need to replace. We'll finish our upgrade. We usually do it with new vehicles that's coming in. We put it in the package for equipment and stuff. We did not do it this time. Costs for cars are pretty pricey nowadays. So we split that off, and so we're using impact fees. So there's $11,000 in change that we have to deplete that account, public safety, and which was moved to some other account. I forget what it's.
There were three impact funds that were all moved to public
Infrastructure.
So
Yeah.
impact fees are what developers pay, so every time they come in to build a new house, they have to pay police, the school, the sewer, the
yeah.
water, so we use that money to buy stuff, equipment and park stuff.
Yeah, it's good you have that.
So we have the 3 funds that still have a little bit of money in them that we have to get rid of.
Oh, so that we can use that to buy the computers.
Yeah, we have, and I don't know what the time frame is, but we have to spend that money in a certain amount of time.
Well, and it's good to have like equipment that works.
And so some of the NDCs, you know, some of the screens don't work, so we have to kind of play with it.
And like if there's an emergency, you want your equipment to be working
Yeah.
top notch, so, yeah.
You hit a button, you want to say, go here.
Yeah, I mean, you never know what could happen.
Total cost is 20,000. And
Change.
yes.
And 11 of it's gonna come from impact.
11, in fact, 8 is coming from the vehicle replacement fund. Refused.
Well, it makes sense to me, does it make sense to me?
Certain tools that they need, that's one.
Yeah, I mean, If we had emergency and we didn't have the right equipment, it would be a bad situation.
They didn't know where to go in Cloverdale. I'm just kidding. It takes a long time to get out of.
Okay, so I'll move on to vehicles. So we purchased new vehicles last year. We got those vehicles in just 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. One's a Dodge Durango and one's a Chevy Silverado 4x4s to get up to open space. Those vehicles they're fully outfitted, lifetime warranty on all the parts. And then we have decal being installed or applied to them this Thursday or Friday. Hopefully they'll be in the parade. And we're on target with that. We will be transitioning out 2 vehicles. They're 16 years old. One is over 100 plus thousand miles. The other one's right at 70. And it's our old black and white car. There's a reason why we did not transition that and paint it so that for our current color schemes, it's really old and that thing going into pursuit. We'll transition those out.
You auction those old ones off?
Yeah.
Just keep in mind that where the budget is, so that if there's something you might want to keep instead of auctioning it off, because there probably won't be any new things coming soon.
Yeah. So I've been looking at, so our CSO vehicle is over 130. So I'm looking at, maybe moving that one out, but it's just, I'm moving cars out because we have new cars.
Yeah.
So, that is, I think the engine light is still off. Check engine, it comes on and off, I'm just saying. So anyway, so we're being pretty frugal on our equipment and trying to make do with what we have.
I just see future cuts and I don't want them to be bodies, so if we can sacrifice somewhere. That's just, keep in mind, that's all I'm asking.
Block safety cameras, so we have one scheduled to be installed this year for our budget and one for next year. I've already got that contract done. They're looking for permits to install one camera at Treadway and South Clove. We had some discussion because he arbitrarily moved it down the road. I'm like, oh, you're back.
Is there one on Hunter Creek?
There, no.
But I mean, can people come in that way without a,
Next thing they'd be seen,
Okay.
taking in that way.
so don't worry about it.
There's another one.
Okay,
There's one there that picks people up, but
okay, good.
I know that's.
Yeah, so there's one facing north, right there at Starbucks. And that kind of captures both lanes there,
Okay.
north and south. But the southbound lanes, if you don't have a front plate on it, it's not gonna capture the car, the license plate. So we're putting one facing south.
Good.
So it captures, we got those covered. And then so the next one, we'll be looking at Citrus Fair to get that covered. So we will, right now, we have the east. East, right? Facing east.
You said you got, I thought you said you got them leaving, not coming in.
Yeah, leaving come up on Citrus Fair.
But I mean, they seem to be working well, right?
Yeah.
As far as catching what you need to catch.
Yeah, so our last,
Chief and we're reporting, so just,
yeah, so we did target some individuals that we were looking at.
Good.
And when I go to chiefs meetings, it helps with, one time the teen goes missing, tips off with her adult friend. They literally tracked them down
That's.
to Texas,
Well,
so it's.
no, that's important. And my friend had her tiny home stolen off the property in
Oh, wow.
Sebastopol. And it was they caught the guy, it was at X-town.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll pick you
Well,
up.
I don't the truck while she was on his trip,
Take
he
the
just
car
took off
from
her
house.
to that tiny home.
hope you're not home.
Anybody in there? Anyway, so, we're moving forward with those. And I think like all that.
Well, it's on your list.
It's faster than you.
That won't happen often.
And I don't have any other updates. Unless you have questions about it,
Nope. I know we have 10 officers now. Like positions, sorry, positions. Let me clarify. We have 10 positions versus the 9. It has to be a rotating. I know you work really hard to make sure they stay, but I would love to have it up to full staffing. I thought that we had gotten there, but I was wrong.
Yeah.
So maybe over this year, we can do look at some type of recruitment, something different we can do. If there is, let us know. But I know we've bumped up all sorts of stuff trying to make it work for you.
What about the school situation? Is there anyone in the schools?
So Ricky is the SRO.
Yeah.
Ricky is doing overtime, covering other shifts, and he's on graveyard now.
Cause you're short staffed.
So, and you know, he gets burnt out, but he
Oh,
does,
for sure.
he does do the SAR meetings. I just had a conversation with him the other day. He goes to some special events on his own. And he did propose some special events, but it wasn't approved through the school. And so with our agreement, the school pays a portion of his salary, and usually the events that, unless there's something going on specifically, they usually don't request an officer unless there's something specific, someone's coming. Or some threats made.
So he hasn't been able, because he's working overtime, he hasn't been able to really spend time in the school directly.
So, and burnout is a factor too.
Oh, for sure. Well, that's what I'm worried about right now, because you're understaffed, that everybody's having to work too many hours.
What, you know, John does a good job with scheduling, and, you know, we're covering what we can. Sometimes we do it one body, you know, so.
But it's still
We're-
tough, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
and
when people are
if push
having
comes to
work
shove, I
hours.
can request somebody, you know, from Hillsborough, you know, it's just from Hillsborough.
Oh, that's
but
good.
We're not at that point.
Okay.
But, you know, there's some, you know, with our trainee getting off, hopefully getting off in April, that's gonna be, you know, a huge help to us, around April. But then again, their family leave is gonna take place because they're having a baby. So now that's, yeah, so we gotta factor that in.
Always something.
It's always something, you know what I mean?
Maybe we'd like to have a lieutenant that would get in the car.
Yeah, so I've already warned them. Oh, yeah, that, you know, they're doing stuff too, it's, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah,
Like that.
definitely. When you're understaffed, that's hard.
John's working, there's pretty much all of his days off on call and comes out and.
But see, that's hard because people definitely need their time
Yeah.
off too, to rest and relax and
He
be.
doesn't, he doesn't want any time off.
Never.
Home if it is.
But it, you know, it's, you know. We're getting there, we're being aggressive with recruitment and getting those people identified, interviewed, and,
And it has to be hard because I know cities like Santa Rosa can pay way more.
oh,
So
yeah, it's,
like, yeah,
they offer, you know, what's theirs, $30,000 and Piddle was 40 or something.
yeah,
There
yeah,
was
no, and of
50%
course,
higher.
like people that need money, they're gonna, you know, run down to Santa Rosa.
But, you know, the quality, we wanna come here. For your, you know, work life, home life.
Oh, for sure.
Quality.
I personally would not want to live in Santa Rosa and be around some of the crimes that happen up there.
Thank you.
You have anything?
Oh, yeah. All right, we don't have an HR here. We don't have a city clerk here.
He's coming back next week. It's over.
But we'll see.
The kids starting school, so we're good.
No college.
City manager's office report, my report. Beautiful. All right, so we extended a few things off of that list already. Is there anything else that you want to take off our list?
Well, I mean, the chamber, the Friday night thing, that can come off.
Oh, those are easy. There's nothing that needs to stay on.
You know, I think,
I think even the cannabis tax report that can come off,
You do?
yeah, because we can bring it to council at this point,
Okay.
or however it has to go.
So we take that one off, the mid-year budget will come off. We had that
We
already.
need the water rate tracking until we get the audit. But, I mean, it's going to be continuous of the exact same thing,
It's up to
and I don't
you.
know if we want to keep poking that bear until we have an actual audit from all of that, so. I think
Yeah, we can take it off.
Let's
or
take it off
bring
until the
back
audit.
on.
And then we
Which
can
one was
talk
that,
about
the water report?
Number 6, yeah.
Okay.
Mid-year financial, we don't need that. So 1, 2, 3 are gone. 5, 6, 7 are gone.
And,
8's gone. 9, 10 are gone.
13 and 14, you could do that.
13 and 14 are gone. 15 or 4, yeah, yeah, okay. We're gonna leave 12 there. Perfect, too. That's good. Awesome. There we go.
you can turn it on.
Next meeting is March 11th, adjourn at what time? 3:26.
Nice.